And we can switch that negative into a positive if we put some more energy and focus into making that work instead of just saying it doesn't work. Because saying something doesn't work when you're not putting any energy in is total bullshit, because it will work. You just need to put in the right energy and focus. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of It Takes Grit. Oh yes, it is getting very close to my new book being available, but right now you can get it on pre-sale, and you can get a whole bunch of pre-sale goodies as well, including a recipe book that has 101 recipes. So you can just go to rebecca-louise.com/book and get your copy of It Takes Grit. Woo! Well, welcome to this week's episode, and we're talking about where focus goes, energy flows. Oh yes, indeed. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I am going to turn on a couple of light bulbs for you today. And this has been something that I've been woken up to recently, and I wanted to share it with you. Often we spend so much time focused on things that maybe are not serving us or maybe are not actually what we want, and we go, oh my goodness, why was I spending all this time focusing on this? This isn't even something that I even want in my life, or it's not going to help me get to where I want to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year's time. So I've had like a little bit of a light bulb moment, and when I have these moments, I of course come straight to you guys to share it, to hopefully to help you guys a little bit on your journey as well. So obviously, this podcast is all about the grit that it takes to get to where you want to be. And we're going to use a little bit of that grit to refocus our brain to get that focus and energy to be exactly where we want it so that it can help us in the future. Isn't that right, Penny? Yes, indeed. Okay, so we're still in quarantine here in Southern California. We're like middle of May right now, 2020, and nothing is opened. I know that some of the states around the country are starting to see a little bit of progress, of movement, but we are still in lockdown. And I'm still just enjoying this house. I think we're like week 7 or week 8. I really do feel like I want to kind of get out and explore and get to the park or get to the beach, but I totally understand why everything is happening. And you know what? We're just going to keep ourselves busy doing lots of live workouts until we can go outside. All right, so where focus goes, energy flows. If you don't have a pen and paper, highly recommend that you grab one. If you're driving, then get a notebook and pen afterwards. Write this stuff down, because yes, you can type it on your phone, but there's something different about actually getting a pen and paper, writing it down, putting it in your notebook, and having a notebook that is just dedicated to personal growth, ideas that you have, and development. So if you don't already have a specific notebook that is, maybe for when we come and do these podcasts, when we do a couple of the live podcasts, the motivation sections, just having that same notebook to go back to refer, to look about where you were, 6 months ago or a year ago, and just kind of reevaluate to see how much you've grown. So I highly recommend getting that notebook and taking notes in one place. So let's have a think. What are you currently focused on? Now, there could be many things that you are currently focused on, and I bet you that there are some positive things, and I bet you that there are some negative things. So I want you to write those down. What are the things that you are currently focused on? And you know what? When I talk about negative things, often we can be putting energy into something that's not changing, but yet we're just saying, this doesn't work. So we could be saying, like my results, I'm not getting any results. My body is not changing. My business is not changing. My grades are not changing. And we're just putting energy into saying that it's not working, but we're not actually putting any energy in to make it work. I see that a lot of times where people say, well, I'm just not getting the results that I want. And I just question, I say, well, what kind of effort and energy are you putting into making that work for you? Because sometimes we're putting, we're talking about things that are not working and giving them energy, but not energy to fix them and make them better, but energy just to moan and say, hey, it's not working. So what are you currently focused on, the positives and the negative things? So for me, I can relate this to, I've been putting a lot of positive effort and energy into, the Burn app, and we have some new exciting things happening, and Team Fearless is really growing, and, that's amazing because my energy is going there. Now, if I wasn't putting energy into building a better app or building a better community or building the team, then I can't expect to see the results. Okay, so it comes with the same with the other thing. The other thing that I'm not, really putting in much energy into, because where focus goes, energy flows, is relationships, right? So it could be partner relationships, family relationships, and I can look at them and say, you know what? They're just not working. Those relationships are not working. But why are they not working? Okay, what am I focused on? I'm just focused on the fact that it's not working. I'm not focused on the fact that I'm not actually putting any energy into it for it to work. Vice versa, if you're someone who's putting so much energy into your relationship and that's going great, but you're like, my business is suffering, or, my grades are suffering, well, it's because you're not putting energy into something to fix it. You're just putting energy into something to validate the fact that it's not working, not because you're actually just not doing the do to make it better. Because I'm a firm believer that if you put your energy into absolutely anything, pretty much 99.9%, it will work. Eventually, over time, you give enough love, care, attention to something specific, you will make that work. Like, how can you not? Because you're putting all of your energy in, and where focus goes, energy flows, right? Where we put all of that focus, energy and great energy is going to start to flow towards it, create that momentum, and get a more sustainable and success out of that situation. So you might be going, well, I'm putting I'm focused on the negative things within a relationship. Well, it's not because they're negative as such, it's just because you haven't put the love, attention, and care that you need to in there. Now, there are some things that you might be putting your energy in that you need to cut, right? So what are you currently focused on? Are you currently focused on trying to, get into a new house that really just isn't there to serve you? Or are you really in a relationship that you actually don't want to be in, and you're just, you're complaining about it, but really that you just need to sever ties and let that go? So what are you focused on? What positive things are you focused on? And then what negative things are you focused on as well? And it's really important to look at both of them, because you are often giving yourselves thoughts and energy towards both things, and then you are complaining that the negative one isn't working, but it's just because you're not putting the attention that is happening in the positive one. And we can switch that negative into a positive if we put some more energy and focus into making that work, instead of just saying it doesn't work. Because saying something doesn't work when you're not putting any energy in is total bullshit, because it will work. You just need to put in the right energy and focus. And then we want to think about, why are you focused on it? Why are you focused on some of these things? Is it something that you want? Because especially if you're working on a business right now, or if you're working on results, you're like, I want to drop 10 pounds. Well, why are you focused on that? You're focused on that because you want to feel confident in your bikini when you get, to a swimming pool, or like on the beach when we're allowed out of quarantine. So what is the reason that you're like, why are you focused on that particular thing? Because then it's going to actually help you put more energy into it. For me, I know that there's a reason why I'm spending so much time with my Team Fearless right now. It's because I want to help them get to a place where they have success, and then I have the lifestyle that I desire for them and myself. So I'm very aware that this energy that I'm putting into it is for the right reasons. It's for a specific reason, because long term, it's going to help me get what I want. So why are you focused on these things? And if you're focused on something that's negative, you also want to think about, like, well, why am I spending the time and energy on that? Like, why am I consuming my day thinking about something that is negative? Do I need to cut it out of my life? Or do I need to spend a little bit more positive energy and love into it so that I can turn that negative flow into a positive flow? So why are you so focused on it? Like, what does that mean to you, right? And then if you're putting your energy in the right places, or maybe you just need to divide it up a little bit and take a look. You look very comfortable there, Penny. Now, is there an area in your life that you're currently not focused on, but you would like to. Or maybe you're just kind of dabbling in something, but long term, you want something from being in that focus. So again, it could be that you want to lose 10 pounds, but you're not focused on it. Why are you not focused on that? Could that be something that you now want to add in that you can really, really focus on? Because in the long run, it's going to help you. It might not even be something that you want to focus on, right? But you know that if you do and you just focus on it, it's going to be really, really great in the long run. You know, there's so many things that I've found that, like, you know, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm tired, you know, I'm exhausted. I just want to focus on myself and reading a book and like having like incense and all of that. But it's like, now is not the time. And then you're going to go through different seasons of your life where you want to focus on something more than the other, you know, especially, you know, in a time that we're in right now, you're going to be focused on something slightly different than maybe if we weren't going through a crisis or, you know, in quarantine. You know, those things do change. And it's not to say that your energy or your focus will not change in another 6 months. But it's like, where are you at right now? What do you need to focus on to get to where you want to be in 6 months' time, in a year's time, in 3 years' time? And is what you're focusing on helping you get there? I mean, light bulb moment, right? What are you focused on right now? Because whatever you're focused on right now is going to be your life in 3 months' time. You know, I always think about everything in 90 days. You know, if you're so focused on getting those results and that's the only thing that's important, you're going to get those results. That's the most amazing thing, is that work ethic and showing up and being consistent and doing the do, you're going to get amazing results, whatever it is that you desire in your life. Like, it's inevitable. If you don't quit, if you just keep on going, you will never fail, right? It's when you quit that you fail. Well, you just temporarily fail until you get back up again. So what is it that you are focused on? And is there an area in your life that you probably think you just might need to focus on a little bit more right now to help you get what you want in the future? Because I think for me personally, there's been things that, you know, I've been so focused and laser focused on one particular thing that now I'm going, okay, I might need to focus on this just a little bit more if I want to have this in the future. So it's just about realigning that focus, making sure that it's all positive focus, and that if something negative is happening in your life, you're not focusing on the fact that it's negative, you're focusing on how can you improve that area. So where focus goes, energy flows, right? And then let's think about how is focusing on this going to help you where you want to be? So it's kind of like, this is what led into perfing right here. It's like I just said, it's like these areas that you are focusing on right now is going to determine your life in the next 90 days, the next 6 months, the next like year. So what are you spending your day and your time being focused on? Is this something that you really want, you know, deep down? Is this something that's going to serve you? Do you need to maybe reassess your goals, reassess where your focus is, reassess, you know, maybe you're focused on something right now and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't even want that. That's not even important to me. And I think that this is why this episode is such a great wake-up call and teaches us that where the focus, you know, where focus goes, energy is going to flow. So whatever you are focused on right now, that's the result that you are going to get. So if you're focused on all the bad shit that's happening in your life, guess what? More bad shit's going to happen in your life, and it's going to keep on going through that circle. But if you focus on all of the positive things that are happening, more of that is going to flourish, and then you can change it. You can change what you're focused on. If you're focused on, you know, I just feel sad and depressed, and, you know, I can't get up and out of bed every morning, like, guess what's going to happen? That is what's going to happen. You are going to feel sad and depressed, and you're not going to be able to get out of bed every morning because that's where your brain is focusing on. But let's switch it up. Let's go, right, where do I want to be? What's my goals? Like, you know, what's my aspirations? Like, who do I want to be this time next year? And you have to put the focus into all of those things that are going to help you get to that person that you want to be next year. Penny just wants to be asleep, I guess, next year. So yeah, I really have woken up to this concept, and I've known about where focus goes, energy flows for, oh my goodness, coming up to seven years. And it's really helped shape the results that I want and where I see myself. And you definitely go through seasons. I really want to emphasize this because it's not like you're neglecting something. And I remember telling my family when I first started my business, I was like, you know what? I know that there's going to be some Christmases and some family vacations where I'm on my laptop, I'm on my phone, and I'm working. And I'm going to just preface that because there will be a time where we're going to have a Christmas and I'm going to rent a house and everybody's going to come over and it's going to be absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to be completely, be able to be dedicated to you. But my focus was to retire my parents and to create the lifestyle so that, I could take any time off. And I made it very clear and I said that was my focus. So it switches. But I knew why I was doing something. I knew why I was focused so much on my work and building something that was going to be able to help retire my family, because I knew what the outcome was going to be. And I never didn't think it was going to happen, because I was like, look, I've got hard work, I can be consistent, I just have to keep on showing up, and it's going to take as long as it takes. And so now, it can change again. I remember when I was getting ready to go to Everest, and that was my sole focus. My sole focus was, okay, all I'm going to do is I'm going to eat, I'm going to train, I'm going to sleep. That was my focus, because my focus was I wanted to be successful in climbing Mount Everest. Nothing else in that moment mattered, right? I was, yes, all of my businesses were going great and things were changing and things were going on and I was going to get, new things coming to the app and stuff, but it wasn't so intense, because that's what my focus was. Now I had to shift that focus massively, because all of a sudden I'm not climbing Mount Everest anymore. And I'm having a new focus. And I just had to switch and go, right, now what's important? And now it's in my head. It's like, okay, where are you going to be in a year's time? Are you going to climb Mount Everest? Are you going to go there in September? I don't think it's going to be open in September. And then it's getting yourself refocused to go and do it next year if that's something that you end up decide to do. So it's not to say that, that focus that you have right now is going to be there forever. It means that it's going to be there until a period of time, until something else might wake you up and change your focus. Maybe my focus now is maybe I'll have, kids, maybe we have a family, maybe we should move house, whatever it is, right? It's how do things change in your life that will change your focus, but you have to focus right now on the things that you want within the next 90 days, within the next 6 months, because that's how you're going to get the results that you want. Whether it's relationships, work, results, weight loss, whatever it is, it has to be that main focus for you right now. So have a think right now, write the stuff down. What is it that you want to have your life to be like in a couple of years time? That is what you want your focus to be right now, because the work that you do right now is going to dictate what your life is like in the future. And, I've just really made it clear with myself of where my focus goes, my energy is going to flow. So what am I focused on right now that's going to help me get to where I want to be in the future? And if you just focus on that, a couple of things at a time, that's ultimately going to get you where you want to be, boom, you know that you're on the right track. So I want to hear about some of those things that you are focused on. So make sure that you drop it on the comments, maybe on YouTube if you're watching there. Obviously, leave us a review on Spotify and iTunes, or you can head on over to the It Takes Grit podcast as well on It Takes Grit podcast Instagram and leave me a comment. I want to know what you are focusing on for the next 90 days, and I'm going to hold you accountable. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for this week's episode of It Takes Grit. Make sure that you go and get my new book, It Takes Grit, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Why are you not going? Why aren't you going to the gym? You need to go to the gym. See, it's the way that you phrase things and the way that you talk to people. It's kindness, right? We're all just a little bit more kind.